You are listening to the Keeping It Juicy podcast.
Your main squeeze in nutrition.
Don't forget to subscribe so you can join us every Tuesday for a brand new episode.
Also, don't forget to add us on Instagram and Facebook at Keeping It Juicy Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to our show. Today is episode 62, and we have a very special guest with us today. Wendell, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Keeping It Juicy podcast. My name is Wendell Miracle. I am a life coach and motivational speaker. I own the internationally Instagram page Hope Nuggets, and I'm here to, bless you with some knowledge,
Yes, we decided to have Wendell with us today because, as many of you know, we are now in February, and when we did our collab with Diet Riot, we talked about New Year's resolutions and how many of them often tend to fail by February, or they're just like barely hanging on for dear life anymore. So it can feel really easy to kind of give up and beat ourselves up. So today we are going to focus on positivity and not getting hung up in the past.
So with that being said, we did talk about February being the month of everybody giving up. I've already seen my gym starting to empty out. So that's just one thing.
Yes.
But with that being said, I mean, February, Valentine's Day just passed. And obviously February is more so the month about love and just kind of self-love in general. To you, what is the importance of self-love and how do you think we should love ourselves?
That's an amazing question that I get asked all the time. And I want to give you guys a different twist on self-love because we hear it all the time. We hear it on the internet, we hear it in songs, but what does it actually mean? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the Hope Nuggets twist on what self-love is. So every morning, I do what's called the morning mirror pep talk. And this is what it sounds like, all right? I say, good morning, beautiful. It's going to be a great day. I give you permission to prosper, and anybody will be lucky to have you. You're beautiful, you're talented, you're strong, you're amazing, you are magnificent, and you're going to attract nothing but blessings today. So when it comes to self-love, guys, it's the best type of love. I'm not talking about being conceited. I'm talking about having a healthy self-respect for yourself. Because if you don't love and respect you, nobody else can love and respect you either. So when you learn to fall in love with yourself, that's when the whole world will fall in love with you too. And here's the thing with like self-love. What it means is that you are not a parking ticket. That means that you don't not need to be validated by anybody else. So many people that are on social media depend on likes, comments, and mentions to feel good about themselves. But guess what? When you depend on that, you're always going to be thirsty and you're always going to be starving, because when somebody gives you one negative comment, it eradicates all the positive comments that you get. But when you have the self-love within yourself to know that you're amazing on your own without anybody having to tell you, your life will be so much happier and you are going to attract so many more amazing things. Because when people depend on likes and comments, it's never enough. It's never enough. So you have to learn how to love yourself within you and not depend on anybody else to have that kind of love.
Definitely. I really like your little pep talk in the morning. And I think we all could use a little bit more positive affirmations in our life. I tell this to my clients all the time. I say, you cannot give yourself to anybody else if you are not already full yourself. Fill your cup up first.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Right.
you are going to be empty for everyone else around you. And it's something that a lot of people who are dieting struggle with, because they give all the time, and they never take that time for themselves to kind of like reset and fill themselves back up, and eventually you're going to run on empty and hit that wall again.
Right. And the same thing goes with my patients too, like especially my bariatric patients that I typically work with.
Yeah.
Like they talk about, okay, I want to get to this specific weight. And then I go around and tell them, I was like, well, if you think you're gonna love yourself then, I mean, if you can't love yourself now, how are you gonna love yourself then? All you're doing is like minimizing how much you weigh. That's all that's happening.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot more that goes into it than just that.
That's very heavy.
Another thing I wanted to follow up on with you guys, because you know how it was like Valentine's Day, and I did this video on Valentine's Day. I was talking about how you can't, stop trying to find the one, for those who are like lonely, didn't have a date, but focus on becoming the one.
Yeah.
How sad would it be if you're looking for Miss Right, Mr. Right, but you're still Miss Wrong, you know? So you need to learn how to be Mrs. Right right now. And at the
Right.
perfect time, Mr. Right will walk right in. You know, we
Right.
all heard that famous movie line, you complete me. You know, but you can't complete anybody and nobody can complete you. You have to be whole within yourself. Because when two unwhole people get together, it's a disaster. But when two whole people get together, it's magical. And that's what you got to do to fill yourself up to make sure that you attract the right things.
Right, right. Very, very true.
Very true.
Awesome. So we'll kind of move on to the next one. So also a big thing that we see is a lot of people struggle with diets or weight loss or lifestyle change because of past failures. You know, they've maybe tried to stick to a gym routine and failed after 3 weeks, or tried X, Y, or Z diet, failed after a month. And they just have this fear of failing again, which causes them to like have a hard time recommitting. What
Yes.
advice do you have for these people?
Oh, yes. Great question as well. So I started working out when I was like 15 years old. I'm 31 now. And when I first started, I was in that whole teenage bodybuilding game where I tried to get as big as possible and eat so much. And the problem was I was always able to gain muscle, but I could never get rid of my gut, you know, and it was so discouraging. And I tried everything, you know, for years upon years upon years. I was never able to get visible abs. I was always around 15 to 20% body fat. And it's so frustrating. It's like, what's the point of having all these muscles, but you can't take your shirt off at the beach because, you know, you have this spare tire, you know? So that wasn't fun. So one of the things it wasn't until I was 28 years old, like I said, I started at 15. It wasn't until I was 28 till I found the secret formula for myself that worked to get rid of that belly fat. So my biggest advice for people is to try everything, you know, and don't get discouraged when it doesn't work, because there's going to be failures, there's going to be roadblocks, there's going to be opportunities to feel like, oh my God, this is not working. So if it took me 11 years to finally get a six pack, but now I've learned how to keep it the rest of my life, it's absolutely worth it to keep trying.
Yeah, very, very true. I think a big part of it too is consistency. We give up before we actually gave something a fair shot, and results take a long time, you know?
They do.
And I don't want to, like, I'll probably throw out an old time reference, but wasn't it Ben Franklin that said he found out 400 something ways how to not do it?
Right.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And then he
Before
found
actually doing it.
right. And I'm just saying that's just one classic example of that's how it applies to our everyday life now.
Right, right. I always hear, you know, successful people fail a lot more than they actually succeed, because you have to get through those failures to realize, okay, like that didn't work. And also, when you give up on your gym routine, you're obviously going to stop making progress because you're not taking the steps to get it. And it's like, well, giving up doesn't work either. So what are you going to do to change? Yeah.
And another thing too is, like, when I finally did get to the point where I was able to maintain a healthy body fat, you still have to give yourself diet breaks. You know, you can't be 100% on it all the time. I want to give you guys a funny story. So one year I didn't have a cheat meal for a whole year, you know, because I got super obsessive. I was like, oh, I'm at 8% body fat. I got to stay like this for the rest of my life. So for a whole year, I didn't have a single cheat meal. And then one day I had the biggest breakdown and meltdown. So for after a whole year of eating brown rice, chicken, broccoli, and kale, my hormones went crazy, and I went to McDonald's. I had a double quarter pounder with cheese, extra large fries with a Diet Coke. Went
Did
nuts.
you gain like 10 pounds?
Yes.
I love how you added in the Diet Coke in there too.
That makes it better. That works.
But if I had just, you know, gave myself some ice cream in between, I never would have had that crazy meal, you know. So it's important to do that.
Exactly.
Right. And that's the thing that everyone keeps forgetting, is how to incorporate that balance back into our lives.
Yes.
Because it is easy for, you know, some people to get so obsessed about it, you know, especially like perfectionist type people, type A people, you know, we get so laser focused on things. You put the blinders on, and it is hard to give yourself that flexibility sometimes, but you absolutely have to, because we're human beings and we are going to cave in at some point, just like you had mentioned. But a year is a long time. I don't know how you did that.
Yeah.
To not do a cheat meal. I was a Nazi, you know, it came to my diet, and it was people call me a robot. Like, how do you
Right.
do that every single day? You know, I was like, I don't know. I was obsessed because, like I said, if you will your whole life having a belly and then you finally don't, you kind of want to keep it that way, you
You were
know. But it's
scared, huh?
I was like,
You
oh
were
my god,
scared
if
to
I
lose
eat
it.
ice cream, yeah,
Yeah.
if I had, if I always thought that if I had a slice of pizza, I'm gonna gain all the belly fat that I lost back. And honestly, like when it comes to
Mhm.
the diet and nutrition field, a lot of it is mental.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, we go crazy. We lose our minds and we think that, oh my god, if I don't do cardio at this time, or if I don't go to the gym for one day, I'm gonna lose all my gains.
Right.
Have you guys experienced that?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I feel like, everyone kind of goes through that obsessive phase for a
Hmm.
little bit until, you said you've been working out and since you're what, 15, so it takes
Yeah.
time for it to kind of settle in and know, okay, this is actually sustainable.
Hmm.
And actually, guys, going back to self love, one thing I wanted to mention when it comes to diet and nutrition is when you
Mhm.
go to the gym, you have to do it for yourself. You know,
Hmm.
you can't do it to impress other people or to just hit a certain number. You have to do it because it makes you feel good. You
Right.
know, it makes you feel
Right.
confident in yourself, and
Right.
also because it's a lifestyle and it's
Right.
something that not just for the looks and the scale, but so that your internal organs are healthy, your heart is healthy. A lot of
Right.
times the people that are in bodybuilding, they use certain things to get them to a certain size, but is that really good for your long-term health?
Right.
So I
Absolutely.
believe in having a holistic approach to fitness.
Right.
Yeah.
So spinning off of that, obviously we know that the dieting and the fitness
Hmm.
arena is going to be tough. So what extra advice do you have for those that already are starting to lose hope in the process? Just because they're not seeing that, I guess their weight loss has stalled, or they can't commit to going to the gym every single day at a certain time.
Hmm.
Yes, my biggest advice is you got to keep plugging away every day. You have to realize that
Yeah.
it's a journey. It's not like a destination. I'll give you for example. One of my best friends, she went to Orange Theory Fitness, and she did. I don't know if you guys been there or heard of that type of program, but it's
Mhm.
I've
hard.
heard it.
It's like
Yeah.
an
Oh, yeah.
hour group workout.
Yeah.
So for an entire 11-month period, she did Orange Theory and didn't lose a single pound. And then she was like, "Oh my God, I'm doing Orange Theory Fitness and I'm not losing any weight. What is going on here?" And I just told her,
Frustrating. Yeah.
yes, that's different. I told her
Yeah.
keep going,
Yeah.
but make certain tweaks to your diet. Like I was kind of like assessing what she was eating, and she was having too much alcohol at night, and too many carbs before bed, and she was in a surplus, not a big surplus, but enough of a surplus where you couldn't lose any weight. So I
Right.
told her you don't have to be in a huge deficit, but you have to be in a deficit.
Right.
So for even though she wasn't losing whole weight for a whole year, after she made that small adjustment over the last 6 weeks, she's lost 6 pounds. So
Nice.
that's like super encouraging to go from not losing any weight to losing weight. So
Right.
my biggest advice is keep going, but make when you're not seeing results, make minor adjustments. Whether it's your portion sizes or calories, because we all know this. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Back to
Weight loss is
basics.
all
Right.
it's
Back to
math,
basics. Yeah.
calories in versus calories out at the end of the day. So that's what you got to do.
Right. And another thing I think people always tend to forget is what are the goals, not just like end goals, but like what are the
Right.
goals? Like some people want to get healthier for not just looking good, but are you doing it for trying to run around with your kids because you
Yes.
can't do it anymore? Or are you doing it because your mother had cancer and you're trying to do everything you can to prevent that happening? Not that that's the only way to prevent it, but there's
Right.
plenty of goals that we have to keep in mind, and we can't define it for them, unfortunately. So
Hmm.
And
it's up.
speaking of goals, like when you have this big goal, I want to lose 50 pounds, it looks like such a giant mountain and it looks like so insurmountable. So I always tell people you got to have micro goals. How about instead of trying to lose 50 pounds, why don't you lose 2 pounds in the next month? Because then when you hit that
Mhm,
2 pound mark, you celebrate it. And then
Hmm.
you're
mhm,
like, oh, shoot, this is working. And then as you
Momentum.
celebrate the small victories, that's when you're
mhm.
able to hit that big goal.
Hmm.
Right.
I saw
Absolutely.
this like quote recently. It was like, don't focus on going from 0 to 100. Focus on
Hmm.
going from 0 to 10, then from
Oh, I
10
like
to
that.
20, 20 to 30. Because you
That's
can't
good.
go 0 to 100. You will
Uh-uh.
probably trip and fall and end up
Right.
back at square one or even worse.
Right.
So
Right.
baby, baby, baby steps.
Also think too, like when it comes to like being in shape and hitting your goals, you have to learn how to protect your energy. and protect your mental and emotional state too. Because fitness isn't just like your body; it's like your soul, your
Absolutely.
mind, your spirit, and protecting your energy. And I wanted to ask you guys this because I had a hard time with it. Is one of the things I tell people when it comes to self love is one of the most powerful words that you guys can learn. It has one syllable. It has two letters. It begins with an N and it ends with an O. That word is no. Because I used to live my life always saying yes to every event, yes to every party, yes to every commitment. And then you'd feel drained and then you don't have the energy to go to the gym.
Hmm.
Have you guys struggled with that before?
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, yes, all the time.
Hmm. Like I just said yes to a double date, and and I kind of regretted it because
Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, okay?
Oh, correct.
for me that was going to bed early, and I regret it every second.
What?
Don't worry about it, but seriously.
So no is so freeing. It's so free. You don't
Hmm.
have to say yes to every commitment, yes
You
to every
don't.
event, because then you're just gonna drain yourself. And that's loving yourself is taking a stand and saying, no, I'm taking care of me before I take care of
Hmm.
y'all.
Yeah, I do like that a lot because it can be really challenging to feel obligated to say like yes to every
Hmm.
social commitment, and it probably isn't the best thing for your long-term goals
Mm-mm.
too. Sometimes the best thing you can do is say no.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And
very,
so,
very, very good point.
and
Yeah.
sometimes
Another
you
thing
might.
too. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say sometimes you might even lose a friend or two in the process, and that's just
Yes.
life. That's just life.
Yeah, it happens.
And if they say no to you, like after not saying yes to them, then maybe they weren't your friend to begin with. They didn't
Hmm.
understand your schedule, your lifestyle, and what you're trying to do. Because your real friends are the ones that realize that, hey, you know what, you're busy,
Hmm.
so it's okay that you say no. Because I know that eventually, when you get through that, we'll have time. But in the meantime, hey, let's give each other the time that we need to make sure we focus on our own goals.
Right,
Hmm.
exactly. That's when you know someone truly, absolutely cares about you and not
Hmm.
just their, what they get from you when they're with you type deal.
Exactly. And Christine, I've seen you like do a lot of these like outdoor workouts now. Like, what do you tell
Yeah.
the people? Because there are some people that don't like the gym. Like, I don't like being looked at. I don't like the machines. So like,
Mhm.
how do you transition them into doing like those outdoor workouts? Have you like
Just
suggested
get
that to
out
people like
there.
that?
Just get out there.
Hmm.
I when I first started working out, I was always a gym goer, so I guess I
Hmm.
grew up in the,
Inside the gym.
gym too, in a way, I guess. So actually me going outdoors was the challenging part for me. Just get out there, just go run around, find a hill, climb up it, find like, just a place to go and get creative with it, make it
Hmm.
fun and find someone to go with you and
Right.
yeah,
And, a,
don't
and
complicate it.
and another thing is a person, when we talk about exercise or going to the gym, that doesn't have to be the only source of physical activity. Like
Right.
there's dance classes, there's going on a
Mm.
walk with a friend, there's
You can take a
like
tennis class.
doing a crap ton of house chores. I don't know.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
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 they call
so,
this NEAT,
yep,
non-exercise activity
activity
thermogenesis. And
hmm.
therapy. Mhm.
I was gonna mention right now is that honestly, like I used to be the type that did 6 days of cardio fasted every morning, and it was like mentally draining. So
Yes,
Hmm.
like my favorite, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but my favorite form of cardio now is I walk 5 to 7 miles a day outside.
you do.
Um,
You do.
I do it because I like the vitamin D, I like getting the
Yep.
tan, and it honestly it restores my energy while burning calories.
No,
Like
the sun feels
after you
great.
it does. And after you do sprints, you're exhausted and you're super hungry. So here's the thing with like, I love high intensity interval training, but
Yep.
sometimes when you do it, it taxes your nervous system and it makes
Oh
you so hungry that you might end up eating more than you thought you should have eaten. But see, with walking, with walking, you still burn a bunch of calories. Obviously, you have to do more, but you burn a bunch of calories without raising your metabolic rate, where it's like you're not starving,
it's just
but
so
you're still burning
steady.
those calories.
Right, right. And yeah, like you said, it doesn't kind of trigger that intense hunger all the time because I've made that
Hmm.
mistake so many times before. I've hit it hard for, a couple days in a row and I'm just like, I'm freaking starving. And
I hear that
Exactly.
all the time.
it is a very delicate balance of, exerting enough to get stronger and, burn those calories through working out, but also not increasing your hunger so much that you're going to overeat anyway.
Hmm.
So it's a balance for sure. But yeah, walking's
Exactly.
great. Walking's
Hmm.
great.
Oh yeah, I'm about to go walking today. So
There you go.
Do
yeah,
you guys have the step trackers to get your 10 to 15,000 steps? Do you guys have that daily goal to
We
do?
have a competition every week.
every week.
Really?
Yeah,
He's winning.
I've won 5 times. So
So
I'm
what is your
just,
average daily? Is it 15,000, 20,000? Like what do you usually get?
I just try to get my points in.
She just tries to beat me one time.
I mean, that's the only. Once I hit my points, I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Enough for the day. Okay.
Yeah, her only goal is to beat me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
If that's what gets her to go out and walk, that's
Mhm,
amazing, you know?
mhm,
exactly. So we do have one final question that we do want to
Mhm.
close out today with. So a lot, if not all, of our listeners are dietetic students or they're in a very competitive dietetic internship, which the date actually closed for that a couple days before this episode airs. So
mhm.
this is an extremely, if not the most
Mhm.
high stress point in most dietetic students' lives. What advice do you have for these individuals who are going through like such a tough and stressful time right now?
Yes, that's a great question. And one thing I wanted to mention, make sure is that you still have to have a healthy balance. You know, a lot of times when we have these goals, like we mentioned earlier in the podcast, we get obsessive with it. And that if it doesn't happen, we feel like it's the end of the world. You
Mhm.
know, we have to realize that, yes, I want this goal. I want this to happen. But let's just say, you know, worst case scenario, it doesn't. There's still an opportunity to try again. You know, even if it doesn't happen the first time, it could happen the second time.
Mhm.
Obviously, you want to put your heart and soul into it to make sure it happens the first time, but don't get so obsessed with it that you lose your happiness if it doesn't, you know, because that's not a healthy balance. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm full Filipino, and most of our parents, they want us to be nurses, you know, and
I've
I,
heard
I'm
that stereotype.
I'm sure you have, you know, so I didn't follow that. So they were disappointed in me for about 3 years. But one of my best friends, you know, he did go to school for nursing. And the first time he took the board exam, the NCLEX, he failed it. And then he asked me, hey, what should I do? I told him, take it again. What do you want me to say? And then he took it again. And then he failed, you know, and he asked me, what advice do you have for me, bro? Like, I failed. I said the same thing, take it again. I didn't know what to say. I had to take it again. He failed the third time. And then after the third time, he wanted to give up. And I was like, hey, bro, you went to school for 4 years for this. Your parents paid $60,000 for this. So you're just going to like throw away $60,000 worth of school because you failed it 3 times. And then he took it for the fourth time, and the fourth time he passed. You know, so my point is,
Oh,
you
good
know,
for him.
if you've invested so much in something and you want it that bad, you're gonna keep going again. Same thing with
Right.
diet, same thing with relationships. You know, if you want something bad enough, you know, you're gonna push past all the obstacles, all the roadblocks until you get to your end game and your end goal.
Very true.
Absolutely. With that being said, I do want to let you guys know, as dietetic interns and you're applying to through the system DICAS, that's how everyone does a matching system. When you do it and you end up, let's say, not matching to your program, don't forget there's second round. How do I know? I got accepted into second round. I mean, obviously, when I was doing second round, I was contacted by one of my first round colleges, which I actually ended up not going because it was too expensive. And I found out it was more of a blessing in disguise going into my second round school because I ended up with an amazing job and a good life right now. So, with that being said, second round is basically about a week from when everyone finds out their matches. And then typically, I mean, I don't know how much has changed since I've been on it, but typically schools list any open spots in their schools. And you can actually go through all of these schools and you can see if there's any open spots, if there's any universities that interest you, any programs that you want to go into, you can go ahead and apply directly to the school and you can wait back, interview with them, and then go from there. Obviously, if you are willing to move, this is a great option. I mean, I had to move all the way to Texas. If you're not willing to move, like he said, you can apply again. So please do not give hope. I've been in your position before,
Mm.
and I cannot imagine my life another way right now, honestly.
Even if it takes 4 times, just keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
How bad do you want it?
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. All right, so that concludes our episode for today. But Wendell, I think you have some exciting news to share as well. So if you want to take the floor.
Yes. So before I'm going to preface my comments by saying that, I own this page on Instagram. It's called Hope Nuggets. It's HOPENUGGETS. Everyone asks me why did that come up with that name. I get internet trolls calling it chicken nuggets, but it's Hope Nuggets. And the way it came from was back in 2013, there was this app called Vine. You only had like 7 seconds to do these videos. And then Instagram said, you know what, we're going to do videos and we're going to one up you, Vine. We're going to give everyone 15 seconds to do a video. So back then, I made motivational videos that were literally 15 seconds long. So it was a nugget sized video that was portraying hope. So that's where the name Hope Nuggets came from. So since then, we had like 100 followers in our first year. 7 years later, I'm so grateful and humbled to be able to say that we have around 370,000 followers right now. So we've grown steadily. And my encouragement to people is that if you start something, sometimes it doesn't take off until year 5, year 6, year 7. So I'm grateful that that's finally happening. And over the last 3.5 years, I've been working on my first book, because Hope Nuggets is all about living a lifestyle of happiness. And the book is called Have a Magical Day: 7 Keys to Living Happy Every Single Day. It's about accomplishing your dreams, but also learning how to be happy every day. Because you don't have to wait until you get married. You don't have to wait till you lose the weight. You don't have to wait till you accomplish that dream to be happy. You can be happy right where you are right now. So in this book, I'm going to teach you guys practical steps on your daily routine and what to do to manifest your dreams, but also to enjoy the journey. So it is coming out on February 20th. You'll see it on my page. It'll be on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Google. I promise you that it will change your life.
That is so cool. I love that you talk about a daily routine, because I've been trying to practice my daily routine and like really get it set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
And even just that little bit makes my days so much easier, I guess, and makes it easier to be happy, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, because you want the goals and you're going to get there, but what did you do on the way there? Did you enjoy your life, or did you stress the whole time?
Exactly. No, but that's awesome. I'm super excited for it.
Thank you.
I might give that a look too. You said Amazon too?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Google Books.
Are you going to audio it?
Yes, I'm going to do the audiobook in about 45 days. I want to see the
voice,
the traction.
right?
It'll be my voice.
Yay!
It'll be a lot of fun.
Okay,
I'll
I'm
definitely
excited for
do
that. I was hoping it was going to be your voice.
Yes, it will.
It has to be. It has to be. Awesome. Well, it was such a pleasure having you on our podcast today. We had a lot of fun, and I hope everyone learned a little bit of something about how to just not give up on yourself, and how to just make every day super special.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
All right. We will catch you guys in the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Keeping It Juicy podcast.
Your main squeeze in nutrition.
Don't forget to subscribe so you can join us every Tuesday for a brand new episode.
Also, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Keeping It Juicy Podcast.
We'd love to hear from you, so please leave us a review.
5 stars, no less.
On whatever platform you're listening to, or send us an email at keepingitjuicypodcast@gmail.com.
Or if you have any topics you'd like for us to touch upon, shoot us an email. Until next time, don't do anything that I wouldn't do.